What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Jedi Jive. My name is Mike. Joining me again is my sister Jenny.
Hey, kitty cats.
And we're here for another installment of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. This week is episode 5. Last week's episode ended on quite the shocking event. John Walker pretty much murdered somebody right out in the open in front of the whole world, and now we're gonna have to reckon with that moment.
Yep.
We've been talking about how there's like 5 or 6 different little storylines.
Yeah, we had
story
a whole
threads
conversation about like the plot lines they still need to wrap up, and we kept thinking of more in the course of the conversation because there's so much.
Yeah, with that said, this is supposedly an hour-long episode, it looks like. So hopefully we can get to a lot of that in this episode. But I mean, like, we have Yuri, the old man from the first episode. We're going to need to come back to him eventually, and Bucky's relationship with him, and obviously, like, Wakanda was brought into this. There's obviously John Walker. There's the Flag Smashers.
The Power Broker,
Sharon
and what's going to happen with her.
And obviously Sam and his sister. We need to get back
Are they
going to
sell their boat? What's going to happen?
So many
Isaiah Bradley.
Like,
we got a lot to deal with in the next 2 episodes.
So, I mean, like, there's a lot of things that I'm, like, wanting to see in this episode. And I was actually telling you before we started this reaction, I was like, I'm super excited for this. I'm, like, really excited, but I'm also really nervous.
There's a part of me that dreads what we're about to see a little bit. The beauty of the show is how relevant and how current it is, but by the same right, I've kind of had enough of the news this week in America, and I'm a little terrified of the spin we're inevitably gonna see put on the whole John Walker story, so I am both excited and nervous to see how that plays out.
Yeah, we talked about it briefly in the last reaction about how, like, the Flag Smashers, that's the ultimate recruitment tool. Like, everybody just saw that happen, so now everybody's going to be like...
We're going to see the fallout of that entire
situation. But it's going to be competing...
narratives.
Yeah, some people are going to be like, oh, well, that was a terrorist. John Walker did what he needed to do, kind of thing. So, and I have a feeling John Walker's going to fall in that camp of claiming that he did what he needed to do.
I'm going to try to separate my thoughts about the show from all the other thoughts I have, and I give them a lot of credit so far for fitting a huge amount of action into individual episodes while also really diving deep on some of these issues. So although there's a lot to cover, I'm sure they will do a beautiful job of it. And
one more thing I wanted to mention is that, like, obviously the image of Captain America in general has been, like, irreparably damaged almost by this, is what you would assume. And that, like, I personally would like to see Steve Rogers make an appearance, if not just to, like, have that moment.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Not going to happen. But, we know Isaiah Bradley's got to come back too, so I'm both excited and nervous to see what happens. Yeah, this is
the Sam and Isaiah show now.
Anyway, let's just jump right in and see what happens.
For sure.
Oh, this one's just called Truth.
Because it's subjective, right?
You saw what happened. You know what I had to do. I killed him because I had to. He killed Lamar.
He didn't kill Lamar, John.
Listen, it was the heat of the battle, okay? We don't want anyone else to get hurt. You gotta give me the shield, man.
A fight?
You don't want to do this.
Yeah, we do.
Oh. Here we go. Dang, dude, John Walker's holding his own.
Why are you making me do this?
Oh, is the arm malfunction now? Oh man, the symbolism in that.
It's a lot.
Literal tug of war over the shield. Come on, Buck.
Come on, Buck, get back up. Sam is not a super soldier.
I am Captain America.
Come on, Buck, show this guy who's boss. Oh, the Thanos imagery right there.
Ooh.
Oh. Oh, he's bleeding.
He's hurt.
It's mine.
Too late, asshole.
It's mine.
He's like, pick it up.
Ugh. Blood on it.
As hard as that is to look at, that's realistic, right?
Yeah.
Like, America's always been covered in blood. We just pretended it was shiny and perfect.
So is there anything we can do?
Not really.
Torres can fix the suit.
Thanks, Torres.
Fix
That's
the suit.
right.
Fix the suit, and you can keep it.
Wait, yo, you forgot the wings.
Keep
Yes. There you go.
It's like you know something about narrative structure or something.
they
You just
just-
keep
they're setting
calling
it up, that's
everything.
all.
like word for word, man.
Well, we knew he was gonna get him eventually.
Yeah.
That was
we
a perfect
did.
opportunity.
We did.
John F. Walker. It is the order of the
Oh, they're booing him.
no longer to act in any capacity as a representative of the United States government or you are hereby stripped of your title and authority as Captain America effective immediately.
Oh shit!
That is not what I expected.
It's only because of your previous exemplary service to this country that I'm recommending against a court-martial. Mandate.
I understand that. I understand that.
You will be given an other than honorable discharge. You will hold no rank in retirement
Oof.
and receive no benefits.
Okay.
It's his wife, right?
Yep.
I am Captain America.
Not anymore, pal.
Not anymore.
They just do not know what it takes to be Captain America. They just don't.
Take things one step at a time. You start by visiting Lamar's parents.
Who's this now?
Well, these boots are not made for walking.
What? Julia Louis-Dreyfus?
Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. Actually, it's Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine.
What is happening?
Is this a comic book character?
If so, I don't know her.
She's got blue in her hair. Yeah.
You did the right
Is she a
thing.
lawyer, a journalist?
Taking the serum, it has made you very, very valuable to certain
She
people.
worked for the power broker.
Don't worry about the shield. I know you don't have it. Here's a little dirty state secret. It doesn't really belong to the government. It's kind of a legal gray area.
What is going on?
I'll be in touch.
Yeah, that was sketchy.
There's nothing on it.
Well, that just
Ju-
threw me
Julia
for all kinds
Louis-Dreyfus,
of
okay,
loops.
sure.
Yeah, I love Julia.
Was that the crazy cameo everyone was speculating? 'Cause
it-
if it is, that was weird.
I'm so confused.
I thought you'd be here soon.
Talk it out, boys.
Don't worry. I've decided I'm not going to kill you.
Zemo.
Imagine my relief.
Carly has people everywhere, and there's only one way to make sure she cannot continue her mission.
I appreciate the advice, but we're gonna do it our own way.
Yeah,
Zemo knew he would say that. He's got
I was afraid you would say
plans up.
Can't with you. You've literally called like 3 actual
It's telegraphed,
lines of
like-
dialogue.
Nobody gets hurt, Bucky. Nah, he's not gonna shoot.
If he kills Zemo, Zemo wins, you know? It proves Zemo's point.
Yep.
Little smirk.
You have no power over me.
You have
Literally
no
that.
power over me.
Not a boy, Buck.
Mhm.
You lose, Zemo.
You lose. Oh, yes!
And you're under arrest, motherfucker.
Ladies,
All
Bye-bye.
yours, ladies.
I took the liberty of crossing off my name in your book.
Oh, shit.
Goodbye, James.
Well played, sirs. Well played.
Almost surprised they didn't hug.
We will take him to the raft.
Raft is a super soldier prison.
Buck and Io are going to be cool with each other again.
Relatives have scarce in Wakanda for the time being, White Wolf.
White Wolf! She called him White Wolf!
Back in the game, buddy. All right.
So he made good, and he avoided going to the dark side.
I may have another favor to ask of you.
Uh-huh. Is this Isaiah?
Oh, Isaiah Bradley.
Yes.
We're nervous too, buddy.
Yeah.
Is that what I think it is? Leave it covered. Those stars and stripes don't mean nothing good to me. She died while I was in jail. Never let a single one of her letters get to me. They told her I was dead. A handful of us got shot up with different versions of that serum. They don't tell us what it is. They tell us it's tetanus.
Mm-hmm.
Tuskegee.
I heard the brass talking about blowing the POW camp to hell to hide the evidence. But those are my men. My brothers, not evidence. And I brought them boys back. And what did I get for saving their lives? They will never let a black man be Captain America. And even if they did, no self-respecting black man would ever want to be.
Man.
Oh.
This is a big wake-up call for him.
Dude. Man, that man can act.
Carl Lumley.
Yeah.
Yes, he can.
And you're just like Mom, feeding every kid in the neighborhood. Now, how many people still owe Mom and Dad something?
All of them?
Well, it might be time to call in a few of those favors.
This is Community looking after itself.
It's like Mama Donia, too, though. Like,
but I was literally just going to say that. It's about the allocation of resources.
Yep.
It's about community allocation of resources. Community's always the answer.
People are there for you, man.
They're doing a better job here locally than any GRC or any government agency is going to do.
So how do we get it off the truck?
You're welcome.
I got it.
I got it.
Just dropping this off. I called in a favor from the Wakandans.
Souped up gear?
Why didn't you use the metal arm?
Well, I don't always think of it immediately. Right-handed.
He's still human. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah. It gives him his humanity.
Yeah. This is good for him. Just normal person, family stuff. She's like, hey.
Hey. Hey, White Wolf. What's up, boy? Sam's like, knock it off. Why don't you just do the whole boat, Bucky?
Yeah.
You have 6 toes, or if your mom's your aunt.
He smiled, dude.
Smiled.
Wow.
But don't flirt with my son. Because if you do, I'll have Carlos cut you up and feed you to the fish.
And then what?
That guy, he's the one that killed our boy?
Yes.
No.
I would never let the person who did that get away.
I was ready to respect you, mofo.
Yeah, that's the line crossed.
He's resting easier, knowing that the man who's responsible got his justice.
The only person that lie protects is himself.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't help Lamar. That doesn't help
For
them.
a second, I was thinking, like, oh, like, admitting that he was a murderer right there wasn't going to help this grieving family, like, in this moment. But still, like, that was his opportunity, and he wasted it.
I have a job for you.
Sharon.
If it weren't for me, you'd still be rotting away in that Algerian prison.
I'll never work for you again.
They're working for her, man.
Well, it definitely made it look that way. I'm gonna be angry if that's the case.
No,
but they
man,
really made it look that way.
It depends.
Oh, he's got a moment of peace.
He smiled again.
He's got a moment of peace here. First time since Wakanda.
Hi, Sarah.
I don't come up to this guy to tell you how to barrel roll or whatever, so don't come down here and start messing around with things you clearly don't understand. Off. Thank you, Jimmy.
I like her very much. She's great. Yeah, you got this, buddy.
They're playing catch.
Yeah.
When Steve told me what he was planning, I don't think either of us really understood what it felt like for a black man to be handed the shield. I owe you an apology.
Huge admission of his own privilege.
You gotta stop looking to other people to tell you who you are.
Playing catch, man. That's like a bonding activity.
Yeah.
You weren't amending, you were avenging. You were stopping all the wrongdoers you enabled as the Winter Soldier.
I called that.
Go see Yori, man.
You go to these people and say sorry because you think it'll make you feel better. But you gotta make them feel better. I'm sure there's at least one person in that book
Yori.
who needs closure about something.
Yep.
Good talk.
Good talk.
Thanks for the help, man. Meant a lot.
So you really gonna let Isaiah Bradley get in your head? You gonna let him decide what you do next?
If I was in his shoes, I'd probably feel the exact same way. What would be the point of all the pain and sacrifice if I wasn't willing to stand up and keep fighting?
Ah. This is his Rocky montage.
Mm-hmm. Take your head off.
He is growing into that role, Uncle Sam.
He's wearing red and blue now.
Mm-hmm. Woo! Okay!
Someday, kid.
I got some help to even out the odds.
Oh!
That's who was
He's
on the
back.
phone, Batroc.
Yep.
That's who was on the phone with her talking about Algerian prison. That makes sense.
We're gonna make sure the GRC vote never happens.
I'm only here to kill the Falcon.
They can't stay where they are forever.
One world, one people.
What's in the box? It's a upgraded
It's a
Falcon
souped-up
suit.
suit. It's an upgraded vibranium.
Come on, come on, come on. Oh, come on. Show us.
Let us
Oh,
see.
tease.
Give us our toys.
Smile. Wakanda Captain America suit. They're not going to show us.
Really?
Come on.
Come on, guys.
Sons of bitches. Yeah. All right, there has to be a scene. There has
check
to be
the
more.
gate.
There has to be more.
Soldering
He's
his
putting
medals,
his medal honors.
his
Yeah.
medals of honor onto his own shield.
Oh, that's a little obsessive there.
That is some dark. It's like reminiscent of Tony Stark in the Cade.
Yeah, especially
making
with that sound,
his
the
Iron
bang,
Man
bang.
suit, the banging, exactly. But like the super evil version. God.
All right, man. So yeah, other than like that opening fight between John Walker and Bucky and Sam, this wasn't like an action episode at all. This was all like
Story.
emotional.
Yeah. We actually got closure on a couple of the storylines we're talking about. They made quick work of the Zemo and
Yeah.
Wakanda storylines. Like they tied that up.
There
with
may be more to that, but they did wrap that up.
They
like-
wrapped that up with a pretty little bow,
Yeah, yeah.
and they didn't make a lot of fuss about it. And fair enough, they have lots of other ground to cover. So that was like a satisfactory.
And the awesome part
result
of that
for
was is that
everybody.
Zemo wanted Bucky to shoot him, or he was
Yeah.
like, because if Bucky were to kill him, that means like we said last week, that proves him
that would
right.
prove his
It's
point that
vindicating
all
his-
super
yeah.
soldiers are irredeemably bad. But Bucky got the upper hand. Bucky like resisted the dark side.
Yeah.
That little smirk, like Bucky won.
Yeah.
And at that point, what is there left for Zemo to fight for?
Yeah.
Like he's been proven
He
wrong.
defeated
his
Zemo by
mission-
proving him wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah. He didn't need to
what
kill
is
him.
left for him but to give himself up? He went to the memorial. He paid his respects to his dead family.
Yeah.
Got Bucky there to like witness that, to
Yeah.
look at the memorial. He had that line in Latvia where he was like, "I bet you haven't even been to the memorial." Well, you know what? He
Mhm.
got him there. He like made him a witness, but then he goes off, I guess, to the Raft, which is a super soldier prison that's in the water. It's in the ocean.
Mhm, yeah.
So that's all tied up.
We've been like praising this show for like sort of like the real world aspect of it, the groundedness of it, like, oh, this is like real stuff. And like I feel like this episode was like the epitome of that, and like not just in terms of like the subject matter, but like people were like saying things straight to people.
The title of the episode was Truth.
Yeah, exactly.
And there was so many examples of people, just all the things that we've had very deep conversations about in these videos and during our live streams, all this sort of socio-political issues at play were laid out in no uncertain terms.
Right
like,
on the surface.
You know, especially during the scene between Isaiah and Sam. And once again, let's just scene, pause to give credit where due to Carl Lumley. Like, what an amazing actor.
Yeah. We'll have to go back through the reaction, but I'm pretty sure like I welled up and started
I was crying.
Yeah,
I was absolutely crying. I had tears in my eyes.
That man put on a performance right there, man.
That was some acting right there. But also, it's so real. It's so true. You know, we've talked many, many times about the Tuskegee syphilis study, and when he tells him the history of that, that's a real history that he's laying out. And that one line at the end of the scene where he says, you know, no self-respecting black man would want that shield.
Yeah. But then Sam's sister came along and was like, that's Isaiah Bradley's his own man. He's got his own story. Like, nobody can tell you. Like, she basically re-encouraged Sam to, like, make his own history. To make his,
exactly.
So it's like, he just, like, we can all sit here and agree that Isaiah Bradley went through some shit.
But you've got to believe the world's worth fighting for.
Exactly.
They kept showing us this image. We had a lot of trouble looking at the shield with all the blood all over it, and they kept showing it during that opening fight scene, making us confront that. But what I think I said during the scene is that that's actually, it's important that we confront that. It's important that we, as Americans, look at that image, because that's actually the truth. We've been presented for years and years and years this propaganda, this image of like stars and stripes, star-spangled Captain America with the shiny shield. And in fact, what that shield symbolizes, it's actually always been covered in blood. We just didn't sort of see it on the news until recently. And you know, I'm having a lot of trouble separating my feelings about the show from sort of my feelings about the things that are going on in the world around us and everything that's happening on the news in America this week. But that's exactly why the show's so good. Because it is so relevant and so current to what we're seeing. There is all this blood all over the institutions that we've always trusted to serve and protect us. And until we confront that, until we like have a good look at that shield covered in blood, we can't change anything. We can't change anything until we sort of admit the sins of the past and find a way to move forward together. So that's exactly what Sam's sister is telling him. Like, you decide your own path. Like, you decide what kind of Uncle Sam you want to be.
And the mystery box in this episode was a literal mystery box.
It's so
I think it seems obvious because Bucky was like courtesy of Wakanda that it's obviously technology of some sort. Whether or not it's an upgraded Falcon suit or an upgraded Captain America suit is
up for debate. But I mean, the minute we saw it, I was like,
the original Falcon suit
gear.
is Tony Stark tech, right?
Right.
So you'd basically, I don't know, but I feel like it's more. At first, I was like, we were like, it's an upgraded Falcon suit. But if Torres is going to be taking the Falcon suit, which
it seems there's a good indication. He's the sidekick, so we have predicted way back when.
My point is you don't want to have two Falcons. You don't want to have Black Falcon and White Falcon. I think,
you know, it was one of the like 4 times today you called the literal line before it happened, where he was basically like, you fix it, you can keep it. You know, so that's it. So Torres can be Falcon and have the fun wings and all the cool toys. And Sam will be Captain America. But yeah, I mean, the minute he pulled out that suitcase, I was like, it's souped up gear. We just don't know exactly what kind of gear.
The only thing that would make me like kind of like doubt that it would be Captain America's suit is because like why would Wakanda care about giving Sam a Captain America? They don't really have any.
I don't know. We'll find out exactly what it is, but they presumably gave him some like really cool vibranium tech.
I mean, I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, great. Like they teased the shit out of it, and then like that's they like end the episode. Of course they did.
Well, and this
but
is
we're
interesting.
Obviously going to get to see him
One
suit
of the
up
things that Black Panther the movie did so well. One of the things that made that movie so successful. I don't just mean commercially successful. I mean like narratively, artistically successful. Is that it fused like American Black liberation movements with African nationalism. In a really sort of what's the word I want? In a really sort of thoughtful and thought-provoking way. And so this is something that comes up for Sam, which is that, like, it seems throughout the course of the show, we've seen indications that, like, his sister, his family, they live in the real America. Isaiah Bradley definitely lives in the real America, and Sam has spent his life this far trying to live in, like, white people's America. And trying to, like, be all that he can be for this idealized version of America. And this episode, the conversation with Isaiah, etc., was such a wake-up call for him. And he's got to integrate all of that with the optimism, with the idealism that he still believes in. Remember when he was talking to Carly and she was, I can't remember exactly what the line was, but she was like, are you going to be optimistic or realistic or something along those lines?
Yeah.
And he was like, can I do both? Mm-hmm. So he has to find a way to do both because that's who he is, right?
Well, I'm thinking right now, I'm like, there were definitely a bunch of like little yet still very important scenes. Like we got one Sharon Carter scene, but it did nothing to reduce my suspicions.
It really
her
makes it look like she's the power broker.
Yeah.
She's talking to Batroc.
And he's like, he said in French, like, I'm never going to work for you.
I'll never work for you again, is what he said.
Like, that is pretty much, thank you for translating the French, because they didn't,
they didn't give a subtitle.
Well,
but
we didn't have subtitles on, maybe they had it, but it was a phone conversation.
He very clearly said, I will never work for you again.
So, I mean, right there, it just really, and they did it all in that environment of, like, the stolen art in the background, and her just seeming very, like, she's calling the shots.
I mean,
just like,
it's so disappointing to me. I don't quite get that yet. I understand.
Don't be disappointed yet, though, because
I'm just disappointed because
it's not like a now I'm evil. It seems like that we're dealing with, like, in this. We keep talking about in this show about how, like,
gray areas.
No, but not just gray areas, but in terms of the, like, you really need to, like, think about, like, people that were blipped, people that weren't blipped, coming back from the blip, and the whole GRC
the trauma
thing.
of that.
Sharon Carter already talked about how she's can't talk to her family anymore. She doesn't have any.
So here's the thing about that. Like, for me,
so it's not necessarily about being bad or evil. It's
part
about
of the criminal underworld.
I
totally get. Sharon being embittered because of the way she's been treated. I totally get. But the things that the power broker has done, I think, are unequivocally evil. Like, just messing with the super serum in the first place and creating super soldiers.
But wait,
you know people are gonna hurt.
We don't. We actually. I mean, I know the
die.
comics are one thing, but in this, we haven't been told or shown the power broker actually creating any super soldiers. We
know that the power broker was behind getting Isaiah's blood, giving it to Dr. Nagel.
Oh yeah, I guess. But I mean,
and you know that people are gonna get hurt and die working with Batroc, like who's a known terrorist
which you would
in
think
this
would
world.
kind of like discount that would kind of rule Sharon out because she's too young to have been around, or like I don't.
She was working for the CIA at that point, wasn't she? I don't know. There's so much that's
anyway,
confusing about
I would
this.
like to mention because like there was some talk before this episode about how there was going to be like a celebrity cameo or whatever, and then Julia Louis-Dreyfus showed up,
scene?
And we were like, "Oh, is this a comic book character? Like a lesser known one?"
I don't know.
It probably is because she had a very distinct
know.
blue streak of hair, and I was like, "Oh, that looks like they're trying to reference a character."
Yeah, and I mean, if she was Contessa,
I'm sure they'll let us know in the comments.
Contessa Valentina, somebody, if you know who she is, please tell us.
Since we're so uninformed on this,
we have not read that
lesser
comic.
known character. But anyway, she came out of nowhere. And
she's
was
an
like,
amazing, multi-Emmy winning actress. Came out of nowhere, and I was like, "Is she the power broker?
Yeah.
Does she work for the power broker? Is she a lawyer? Is she a journalist? Like, what's her?" And then she gives them
seemed
this
a little
blank.
too goofy to have been like powerful and threatening.
Why does she hand them this like
broker.
black and white card? Is it magic? Is it gonna like have words on it later? Like, what is up?
No,
with
I think
that
it's
whole
more of a
scene?
like you don't need to call me, I'll call you.
Oh
kind
my
of thing.
gosh, that was so much.
Yeah.
So okay, let's talk about John Walker and his trajectory.
Yeah, there was like a second there where like he goes to see his family and it shows a picture of him and Lamar, and like I'm sitting here, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to see John Walker.
This is the human side of him.
I'm ready to see him like redeem himself, like emotionally at least, and then like right off the bat he lies, and you're like, well, so much for that.
And what I said before was the only person that lie is protecting is himself.
Yeah.
That's not. I guess it helps them find closure, but that's not his motivation. His motivation is like. He's lying to himself as much as to them because he still has this need to believe that he's Captain America, that he's worthy.
Yeah. But like also it's a direct juxtaposition with what
Bucky's about to do.
What Sam told Bucky, where he's like, you need to go and tell these people the truth. Yeah, and it's not about making yourself feel better, it's about making them feel better.
Let's talk about John Walker for a minute because
the opposite.
The moment during the fight between him and Sam and Bucky when he roared, "I am Captain America." And it was this, and then he tried to kill Sam with his shield, and it was this image of this big, very Aryan-looking white man screaming like, "I am America," over the actual Patriot, who happens to be a black man. And it's, That was rough. And I mean, that's all that we saw is the super serum amps up the qualities you already have, right? And his insecurities, his like desire to be worthy and his feeling that he's not worthy is like front and center. And he's obviously gone off the deep end now, like dark Tony. I mean, Tony Stark's already kind of dark, but like a second version of Tony Stark, like in the cave,
literally hammering the metal. Yeah.
Oh, it's clearly a deliberate callback. Yes. But this is not going to go well.
No.
Hammering his metal.
And they did show that his wife was like there for him, was ready to like support him emotionally and whatnot. So I don't know if he's going to be basically. At this point, like he's ruining his relationship with his wife too. If he's going to be lying and then
she definitely was
doing
a
his own thing,
freaked out, justifiably.
because she was encouraging him, like you need to go talk to Lamar's family. Like so, in her mind, like she's doing what Sam was telling Bucky to do. Like you need to go, own up to your sins or whatever.
I don't think she was saying own up to your sins. I think she was like, you need to go visit the parents of your dead friend with whom you served on the battlefield. And that moment when he lies, it was just like, when I said line crossed, like he's clearly crossed several lines already to this point, but that was a particular line where we can no longer argue that he's fighting for any kind of greater good.
Yeah.
When he lies to Lamar's parents, that's like the final stake in the coffin.
Yeah.
Like he's only looking out for himself.
I think we were both like actually really surprised that like right off the bat, like that sort of court-martial situation, they were immediately like stripping him of his you were no longer associated with the American government.
I'm pleasantly surprised by that. I expected to see a whole spin situation where they tried to valorize him, and it's aspirational to imagine a government that actually holds the right people accountable, but I prefer that in this moment. Like, I don't want to watch the news on this show as well.
A lot of S.H.I.E.L.D. imagery, and obviously not just like the S.H.I.E.L.D. is the S.H.I.E.L.D., but also like I was mentioning how like Sam and Bucky were like physically having a catch with it. And I'm like, that's the classic like boy bonding
male bonding
thing. Yeah. So it's like, because at the end of that scene, they finally sort of like reluctantly, jokingly like refer to each other as partners. Like it's like, I'll be there for you, buddy. Like
and we like, still see that like jocular sort of
so
banter.
they're always gonna be like that with each other, but we finally saw them like I said, admit their partnership together.
What a wonderful montage, the sort of scenes in Louisiana, like Bucky just doing normal human stuff, and he smiled at least twice in those scenes, and literally first moment of peace that he's had since he was in Wakanda.
Yeah, that with like his moment with Zemo and all of that, like Bucky definitely has had a lot of clarity.
He has evolved. He has evolved in the course of this episode. The level of self-awareness when he said like, I just sort of have now come to understand that Steve and I never really got it. We didn't understand what it meant to hand the shield to a black man.
He apologized
like
to him.
Amazing level of self-awareness, like confronting his own privilege.
Yeah.
Which is something that John Walker
and
has
Bucky
not done.
Being literally a man out of time, coming from an era when it was like racism was like that much more.
But it was hidden too in a lot of ways. Like he came from an era when we did have Stars and Stripes propaganda and thought that was a good thing, and he's come a long way. Yeah. I mentioned this way back in episode 1 that what he was doing was not really making amends. The line Sam said was, "You're not amending, you're avenging."
Yeah.
I remember talking about this way back in the beginning, which was that like he's doing it his own way, but basically made that exact same point, and so it was very astute of Sam to point that out, and we knew that Yuri was going to come back in. Yeah. That's going to be the important one that he has to
Okay, so like we were talking
confront.
At the beginning about how there seemed like there were like a gazillion little story threads that we needed to kind of like come back to, and we did kind of come back to a bunch of them. So now like I do feel like there is like this final episode is set up for like, okay, we took care of Zemo, so now we have Sharon Carter. I feel like Sam's family is a little bit more settled now because of the boat situation. They had that. It's not necessarily like a wrapped up story, but like his sister was like, we're not telling it. Like that felt okay.
She's like, okay, I got it from here. Like, you go do superhero stuff.
So now it's really just about the like John Walker, Carly Morgenthau, Sam and Bucky. That's all gonna clash.
Plus Sharon / Power Broker.
Yeah, and
we've got Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Batroc in the picture now too. Let's just throw more shit on the pile in time for the last
obviously,
episode.
Well, I mean, we're set up for a crazy final scenario here, and I'm ready for it.
I think everything's going to come to a head. All of these people are going to be in one epic battle
all right, guys.
together.
So we're going to discuss this in great depth hopefully tomorrow on the live with the boys from All New Nerds. So hopefully you guys can join us tomorrow when we go a lot deeper on this discussion. So guys, let us know what you thought about this episode. Give us some comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time, guys.
Bye.